Hi, my name is Jeff Queen. I'm a pilot for a large private corporation. I fly Falcon 8Xs and Falcon 900s. Prior to that, I flew for another private individual in a Gulfstream 200. Before that, I spent 20 years in the Air Force flying a variety of different airplanes from large 707s to small Learjets. I started flying at the Air Force Academy in a sailplane and then moved up from there. And the Air Force took me all over the world to about 60 countries, flying airplanes in and out. I've seen a lot of things flying. There have been several that have been challenging, and some of it is based on the airplane. Different airplanes have different capabilities. And so when you have an airplane that has lots of capabilities, it makes challenges like tough weather or tough airfields a lot. It brings down the risk factor, and so I would say there's been a few. There's been a landing in Afghanistan that was during Operation Enduring Freedom that was fairly challenging. But just in the United States, going into Martha's Vineyard at night, the tower's closed because it doesn't operate 24 hours a day, and the weather in Martha's Vineyard is always low clouds and rainy and unpredictable. And so flying in there with not really much gas because it's a short runway, and not getting in and going around at 200 feet off the ground is always a little nerve-wracking. But again, that goes back to trusting your procedures, knowing your procedures, practicing them ahead of time, knowing that, hey, there's a good chance we may have to go around here. Let's talk through the go around for a couple minutes while you're at the descent. To be a pilot, you have to do training on a either semi-annual or annual basis. And so when we do that, we go sit in a simulator that simulates the airplane, looks just like the flight deck of the airplane that you're qualified in. And we've got a lot of different names for the simulator, but so the sim operator sits behind me and my colleague, and they basically they try to fail systems on the airplane. They put us in bad weather, they put us near mountains, they put us in tough situations. A lot of those are they're obviously fictional, but they can happen. And then sometimes they compound those to make things even worse than they would be. And we practice flying with degraded systems all the time. And so we do that on a constant basis. And so when things go wrong in the airplane, and that's very rare, the first thing we do is we rely on that training. But the one piece that we can't control, and really is the scariest, is weather. And so we talked a little about this before, in that days where it's beautiful sunny day like today, flying is great. I mean, I don't get paid to fly on days like this. I get paid to make good decisions when the weather or it's a tough scenario. And so when there's bad weather, we hope that the weather is not going to affect our takeoff or our departure destination. But if it does, we've put in strategies to get us safely to a nearby airport. And really that comes from constant training, experience over, me personally, over 23, 24 years of flying. The trust that a pilot has starts, right when we show up to the airplane. So we trust our maintenance technicians to have put the airplane in a safe position for us to do the mission. We trust in air traffic control to keep us separated from other airplanes. We trust in our navigational equipment, both ground and space-based, what's in the airplane. And then we trust those arrival airfields, that the runway's in good condition, the tower is also separating us appropriately. So we have a lot of trust, and there's a lot of people and different equipment that goes into making aviation safe. Yeah, that's interesting. If you listen to these recordings that end successfully, Sully's obviously an excellent example of being calm. He's, as a previous fighter pilot, he's been in a lot of tough situations. And so, pilots, like I said, back to that training piece, we've had so many hours in the simulator. We've flown into so many different fields, into different scenarios. So all that gives you confidence in your abilities, the ability of the aircraft. Maybe the person sitting next to you is an excellent aviator also, so that helps get through the tough situations. But there are things that they pound in our head, and so always, you fly first, regardless of what's going on around you. You fly first, and you navigate second, and then you communicate. And so when you hear these things, and people, they're always so calm. Well, aviate, navigate, communicate. That's the thing we beat into people's head. And so it doesn't matter what air traffic control says, doesn't matter what the airplane's doing. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna keep the shiny side up, or I'm gonna keep the airplane straight and level flying along, and then make sure I'm going to the right place. Then I'm gonna talk to air traffic control. And so when you do that, things kind of slow down for you. Plus, you want to sound good on the radio.